Hello, I'm Christopher Bayliss from Fast Growth Services. Thank you for downloading the workbook entitled Develop Your Strategic and Inspiring Leadership. Of the 50 workbooks we have, many of them are about strategies. Today we're focusing on leadership. I'm with Robert McRae today. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you.
Robert was the Managing Director of a company called AmSafe Bridport here in Bridport in Dorset, and took the company forward in terms of growth at an astonishing level. He's now moved on to other things. He's now got a portfolio career.
Yes.
You're involved with a number of boards, and you're also involved with Exeter University at a high level, including teaching, and I guess teaching leadership too. So
Leadership will be one of the subjects we teach.
good. So I hope this will be very relevant
It
to
will absolutely be relevant.
So Robert, before we get into the workbook, can you briefly tell us about the two major products within AmSafe,
Yes.
and secondly about the growth you've achieved within the company in the last 12 years?
Okay, I will try and do that. Firstly, the AmSafe business was part of a large group, and one of the major products made by our sister company was seatbelts, which I'm sure everybody recognises and understands. The AmSafe Bridport business specialised in cargo restraint textile products, and this is a brilliant example of one that was developed from that knowledge base, which was Tarian, which is used on military vehicles to protect soldiers in tough environments. On the growth side, we started off in 1998 when I joined the company. The business was about $15 million. By the time I left in 2010, 2011, it was up to 100 million and was a global business. And without working on leadership and strategic activities, which you and I did for many years, we would not have achieved that.
Wow. So $50 million as turnover, sales per annum, to 100 million in 10, 12 years.
Yeah, and some of those businesses were given to me, and so I can't claim the success for all of them. But of course, we had to manage them all and introduce leadership skills and strategic direction for those businesses. And that was a really interesting challenge.
So over these 12 years that we've worked together, we've looked at many aspects of leadership and read many books. And for the people who've downloaded these workbooks, of the many books on leadership, I can recommend this one particularly by Warren Bennis and Bert Nanas, entitled Leaders. Can you just read the strapline there, Robert?
The strategies for taking charge.
Taking charge. And I think we would echo that in the right sort of way. Okay. So the second part of this video is some hints on how to use it effectively. It'll take you about an hour to do it, as most of the workbooks do. So to start with, I'm going to ask Robert just to read from his copy the focus and the purpose.
So this is all about develop your strategic and inspiring leadership. The purpose of this workshop is for you to create your strategic and inspiring leadership plan. The goal is that within 12 months, through your plan, you substantially increase the profit and market value of your company.
We ran this particular workshop about 2 years ago with a group of people, and I've seen some extraordinary things happen in their companies. Really powerful stuff. If you turn to page 1, Robert, on your copy, a lot of the workbooks start with what's the strategic problem. It's not that I'm a negative ferret, but I think it's useful always to say, well, what is the problem? What are we trying to solve here? Robert, can you just read the top part of that, please?
And this is a powerful piece because, as business leaders, we often tend to focus more on the day-to-day issues at the expense of defining and driving our strategic goals. We also ignore the opportunity to inspire, support, and participation in those strategic goals. This means we spend insufficient time on our strategic goals and too much time on other issues. We spend insufficient time and resources inspiring people to help us achieve our strategic goals. We constantly do not achieve the highest profit and market value for our company. And you and I, Christopher, know this, don't we? That in the first one in particular, it's so often the case that you're dragged into the day-to-day issues and don't lift your head up enough and think about the long-term aims of the business. So those are really good points.
Thank you. So the 3 hints, I think, in terms of this is, if you turn to page 2, Robert, is the starting point is to assess yourself as a strategic leader, and there are 10 factor checklist there. Can you just read the top two or three?
Number 1 is you have clearly defined strategic goals for your company. The second one is you have a commitment from your senior staff to meet these goals.
So when using this workbook, I'd like you to be objective, but also honest and fair to yourself. Currently, how would you score on a score 1 to 10, where 10 is outstanding, 1 is barely adequate? But much more importantly, as it says there on the second column of this sheet, is where do you want to be? What's your target for the next 6 months? And then, like most of these things, what are your strategic conclusions? Make sense? Very simple.
Absolutely.
And on page 3, there's the same thing again, but this is now looking at inspiration. 10 factors. Number 1 factor there is you often thank people for behaviours that meet your strategic goals. Your thanks is greatly underused by many leaders.
Real recognition.
Yeah, recognition and so forth. And the second one there, Robert, if you could just read that one.
You often thank people for behaviours that match your company's principles.
Yeah. There's a workbook on principles in the 50, very, very important aspect of being a really effective leader. Okay, same thing again, assess yourself, set a target, draw your conclusions. And at the bottom there is asterisk your 2 behaviours that you particularly want to focus on. Much of what we do in these fast growth workbooks is to get an overview and then to focus. And to write those behaviours, each one in your own language on small post-its. I have no shares in 3Ms, but really good to do. So get 2 from that page, 2 from the other page. Then pull it all together into some plan. I'm a great believer in visual plans. So set your goal. What's the goal for the next 6 months to 12 months for your strategic inspiring leadership? Write that out. And then put your post-its you've got from the previous pages into a plan. Obviously assess the benefits and thinking about involving your people in terms of taking action. So just to summarise, developing your skills as a strategic and inspiring leader, I believe is probably one of the most important aspects of taking a company forward in terms of growth. And I believe you would agree that that was the case here.
That is true. Yeah.
Robert, you're now moving on to other exciting things with other companies as a non-exec director and chairman, and also very much involved with Exeter University, the innovation side. May I wish you every success using some of this material in taking that forward. And thank you for your time today.
No, thank you very much, Christopher.